Guys, we are back working on the UK's cheapest BMW. It has been a while because the weather has been atrocious as it is today, but I'm going to endeavour and I'm going to try and get some more things fixed on this car for you. As you can see from the last video, I did manage to get the diff off, and unfortunately I bought one off eBay and it never arrived. That's another reason why I was kind of holding off, because I wanted to show you me fitting the new diff. Now, since the weather's really bad, I'm gonna get inside the car. If you remember from last time, I did fit the new sensor which controls for the recirculation, so I'm gonna get straight on the diagnostics machine first, and we're going to try and reset that fault code, and hopefully that will work. So without further ado, let's crack on with that video. Hi guys, so you join me in the car here. I'm going to try and start her. I haven't started her in a while. She's really low on fuel, and I just want to make sure the battery's still alright. I have had the negative disconnected on it, so I'm going to try and start her up first and we'll see what happens. Obviously I've left the car in neutral, and I've also disengaged the handbrake as well because I don't really want these discs to seize. So let's try and start her up and see what happens. Right, so she's telling me the usual lights. Obviously, washer fluid is low. We know about the reverse lights we've got to fix, and just tell me I'm low on fuel and washer fluid really. So I'll let her run for a little bit and then we'll start plugging in and see if we can get this ASC sensor fault cleared with my new part. Right guys, so I've plugged my D7 in. I've just done a scan and it seems to have cleared itself already. Obviously the only one we've got left at the minute, as far as I can see, and it's really weird because this has started. I've put the automatic, obviously I've turned the aircon off, that probably doesn't work anyway, but it's already started changing, as in you can hear it working better, the actual climate control. I didn't realise this car had climate, but it does, and it seems to be working a lot more efficiently than it was before, so that looks like a bonus. I'll clear all the faults just in case, as you should always do when you fit a new piece of kit. But yeah, we'll see what this comes back with once I've cleared all the faults. Right, so I've restarted the engine as it said on the screen when I did this, and yeah, completely gone. It now only seems that the only failure I've got, which we know about, is this one, which is the reverse light. Let's have a read of these codes again. There we go, the short circuit fault, which I'm going to attempt to fix now. On these BMWs, when you shut the boot multiple times, the harnesses wear. So I'm going to have a look inside the harness. I think the rain's kind of easing up a bit now, and we'll see if we can fix the wiring issue and get these reverse lights working. Right guys, so this is the wiring harness I was talking about, which is just here. This is the one that can break, and it kind of comes in under here and then through here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this rubber bung either side, and we'll see if we can start seeing any of the wiring that may have been damaged inside here. Right, so all I did was to undo this. You literally just pull it out and it comes out, and same at the other end. Now I've already found what the problem is just by pulling a wire. Now you see these brown wires here, the thicker ones, they're so loose, mate, and I think I'm just going to pull this out because I can feel, if you look down here, you can see the insulation is broken on this particular wire here, and I bet you any money if I pull this out with my finger, I bet it's snapped. Yeah, and there you have it. That is why the rear reverse lights aren't working. It looks like over time the insulation's cracked and it's just snapped. Let me see the other side. I suspect it's the same brown wire. Let me see if this will pull out. No, it might not be. It might be this one, maybe. This looks like it's been repaired before, look. That's interesting. That's definitely had a repair before. In fact, let me pull these wires one by one and see what I find. There you have it. It's just one wire. Someone's repaired this before and it's just broke further down the line. You can see there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-thread probably the same wire through, 'cause it looks about the same grade anyway. Maybe a new one, and I'm just going to re-terminate and maybe do a better job than they did, and then hopefully the reverse lights will start to work. Right, so I've decided I'm going to fit a new piece of wire in here because I'm not really happy with that old bit of yellow wire. I'm going to put some really good thicker black wire in, which will stop it hopefully breaking again. Now the first thing we're going to do to get this new black wire through is, what I'll suggest is don't mess about trying to thread this through because it'll be a nightmare. What I like to do is get an old coat hanger, make it straight, and then just push it straight through. And then what you do is you tape the new piece of wire to the end and then just pull it through. So there we go, I've taped on the new piece of wire. And I'm going to try and do this one-handed, is literally just pull it straight through. Right, so I had to do that two-handed in the end, but as you can see, I pulled the coat hanger through, taped it at one end, and it pulled both ends through perfectly. So now I'm going to terminate the new wires together. Right, so this is what I've done so far. So I've braided and twisted the wires back, ready for the first connection, and then I've had to cut it right back here because you could see where it had been wearing. So I've pulled both wires back here, twisted them, and then I'll make the connection there as well. So these are what I'll be using. These are like two-way jelly crimps, and they're filled with silicone inside. And yeah, you just put the bare wires through and just crimp them down here, and it makes a good connection. And then all you do is crimp them together once you've pushed the wires in. And there you have it, that's one good connection. And there's the second connection made there. I did a little bit of a drip loop here, and the reason is I don't want this to flex, and that should take the flex out of it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the bungs back in carefully, and we're going to go and test this and make sure it now works. Right, so the bung is now back in. You just kind of knead it in until it clips in, and that's fine. And now we're just going to reconnect the battery down here, and then we're going to go inside the car and we're going to do a diagnostic check. If you're enjoying this video so far, why not consider liking and subscribing? Right, so straight away the sign hasn't come up for the reverse lights, so that's a good sign. So let's get into the tool now and see what it says. Right guys, so I've reset the FRM module and I've cleared the fault code, but it's still there. It's still showing the left reverse light is showing a short circuit. Now I don't believe this is true. I've tested all the other lights in the same cluster and they're fine. The bulbs are okay. I suspect what's happened is that the actual module has bricked itself. Apparently, if reverse gear was selected 50 times and wasn't fixed, it will just lock out at that, and it probably means I'll have to get this module sent off to be repaired. I will go through the wiring again, but I'm pretty certain it's the FRM module that's just bricked itself. So yeah, I will have to come back to this and keep you updated on it. Right guys, so I've revisited the wiring again. What I've done is I've pulled each one of those wires through the loom, and they've all pulled through fine. Obviously the only one is the one I've just repaired, which has got good termination on it. I've then traced the wire. I've took all this backboard off here, and I've actually identified that the wire I repaired was this one here, which was showing the short, and it just goes all the way to here, and it goes on pin number 3. So I've disconnected it from the cluster to rule out the cluster, And what I'll do is I'll probably disconnect this one as well. You just kind of push these in and they should just come out. And then I'll redo the short test and see if the short's still there. Like I said, at this point I'm definitely thinking it's the FRM, the footwear module, which I will have to send off because it's just bricked itself. It's quite a common thing on these cars, so I'll go and have another go. Right guys, so I've been doing a little bit more investigation. I've checked obviously the wiring there, but I've had all the loom looked at now, and what I've been doing to identify, because on these smaller clusters on the boot, that's your fog. I believe one of these is the second brake light, and then the last one is your reverse. And what I've been doing is using the diagnostics tool to turn on. I'll show you what I do. So basically, and then you got activate, and this will keep the lights on for 15 seconds like that, you see. And then what I've been doing is getting my multimeter, sticking it on the back of the connector to tell me if it's 12 volts there. And I've written a little list which now tells me which of the reverse light wiring for each side. So now what I'm going to do is, now that I've figured out the reverse light for each side, I'm going to trace that wire between the top and the bottom here and make sure for each side that it is all intact. So I've figured out that the reverse light is the purple and black wire here, and that should be on port 4. And what I've done is I've traced the wire in various places and then got down to this point here and then pulled them through, and they're completely tight. Now that's the reverse light there, there's no cuts in it here or anything, it pulls straight through, so I'm happy with that. And I've done the same with, I know this one should be working, but again, I've pulled the wire. This should be on port 1 on the right hand side here, which is the blue wire for the reverse light, and that pulls straight through. So there's nothing wrong with either of those wires, which is again pointing to the module. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, now that I know which wire it is, I'm going to activate the light and see if any voltage comes up on here, because if there's a short on the left wire, why the heck wouldn't the right wire work? Now the only fault I found was with the brown wire, which I'm suspecting, because it's got bigger insulation than the rest, is either the ground or positive, and I don't know, I suspect it's probably the ground being brown. So why on earth would that one affect this one? This is why again I'm thinking it's the module. Right, so this is my setup now. So I've got it plugged in to the reverse light on the good side, okay, that doesn't have a short and isn't showing a short on the module. I've put a good ground to the battery, and now I'm going to go inside the car and I'm going to activate the rear reverse lights. Now what should happen if it's the wiring is, we should get 12 volts on this side, because we know this is wiring is good, because it's telling us it's good. And it's this side that wouldn't have any voltage. So let's see if the module sends any voltage to the good reversing wire side. Go. Activation. Go. And as I suspect, it's not sending the 12 volts to the good side. It should do. And this is now confirming to me the FRM is definitely faulty. Right guys, so I've got the footwear module out. This is the item code for it. It's quite simple. All you do is pull this trim off here. The side trim, just pull that up. Then you take off, just around here is where your bonnet release would be. Phillips screwdriver, take that off. Then there's another Phillips screwdriver that you take off just there. Then you pull the panel out, really easy. And then there's a plastic nut here at the bottom of the module, which you simply just undo and take that off. And then there's 3 connectors, which are these push down type, where you release that one, 2 at the back, a little bit tricky at the top, but once you've kind of undone them, you can actually pull and slide it down with the nut you've released, and then they just pop off. And now this is a module that I'm going to send off to someone on eBay who will be able to unbrick this, and then we'll just put it back in and it should be all right. Right guys, so I hope you've enjoyed this video today. We've got quite a lot done. We've obviously found out that the footway module is faulty, not the wiring. We have repaired the wiring fault anyway, which we did find, but obviously someone's just left that and they've done it over 50 times, which has bricked the module. And I'll get that sent off. Obviously the diff, I still haven't located the diff yet. I'll get on the case, get that diff ordered, and then we'll crack on with all the other faults. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.